The small ship Aurora Dawn drifted quietly through the dark stretch of unknown space. Its crew of explorers was not large, but each of them had come prepared for missions like this. The ship was not made for battle. It was a medical and science vessel. Its purpose was to bring healing, not war. Captain Elias Morgan stood on the bridge, staring at the faint signal glowing on the screen. The distress beacon was weak, almost broken, but it was still there. He tapped his fingers on the armrest of his chair, thinking. Uncharted moon, reported his navigator. No records in the maps. The beacon is old technology, nothing advanced. But it repeats the same message over and over. It is a call for help. Elias gave a short nod. Plot a course. Let's see who needs us. The ship descended into the atmosphere of the moon. Below them stretched a barren land of gray soil and scattered rocks, but far in the distance, the crew spotted smoke. Black lines of ash marked the horizon. When the Aurora Dawn landed, the air outside was thin but breathable. A small team stepped out, Captain Elias, Dr. Leon, the medical officer, and 2 explorers, Mara and Kaito. They carried scanners and medical kits. Not weapons. The closer they walked toward the smoke, the more the ground told its story. Buildings made of stone and clay stood broken. Ash drifted in the air. Craters burned in the soil as if great fire had struck here. Something destroyed this village, as Mara whispered. Not something, Kaito corrected. He bent down and touched a melted piece of metal lying in the dust. It was the shard of a blade, glowing faintly from energy burns. Someone. Dr. Leon stopped suddenly. She pointed toward a small collapsed shelter. Over there! The team rushed. Under broken beams of wood and stone lay 2 figures. The first was a woman of an alien species they had never seen before. Her skin glowed faintly in shades of pale blue, and faint lines of light ran across her arms as if her blood itself carried a glow. She was breathing, but her breaths were shallow and weak. Next to her, clutching her hand tightly, was a child. He looked no older than 8 in human years. His large, luminous eyes shone with fear. In his small arms, he tried to shield his mother as though his thin body could block all the pain of the world. The humans stopped, surprised. None of them had expected to find survivors, let alone a child. The boy looked at them, his face both fierce and desperate. His voice trembled, but his words were clear. "Will your tools be kinder than their swords?" he whispered. The question struck all of them silent. Dr. Leon knelt slowly, her hands raised to show she meant no harm. "We came to help," she said gently. "We are not the ones who hurt you." But the boy shook his head, still holding on to his mother. His eyes darted between their medical packs and the memory of the fire that had fallen on his village. He did not know if humans were different from those who came with blades of fire. Captain Elias crouched beside Dr. Leon. He did not try to touch the child. He only looked him in the eyes and spoke in a steady, calm voice. "We carry no swords, only tools to heal. Let us try, or she will not last long." The boy's lips trembled. He glanced at his mother's weak face, then at the stranger's. His small shoulders shook as he tried to decide. Dr. Leon opened her medical kit. Inside were scanners, bandages, and vials of clear medicine. She showed them to the boy, letting him see each one as though to prove they were not weapons. Slowly, carefully, she reached out. The boy did not stop her this time. Dr. Leon scanned the alien woman, frowning as she read the results. "Her body is losing energy too fast. Her organs are different from ours, but she is bleeding inside. If we do not act, she may." She stopped herself before finishing. Captain Elias looked at the boy. "We will try. That is our promise." The boy tightened his grip on his mother's hand and whispered something in his own language. A soft prayer, or maybe a hope. As Dr. Leon worked quickly, Mara and Kaito looked around the ruined village. They saw burn marks shaped like long arcs, cuts too clean to be made by normal weapons. The evidence was clear. Whoever had come here had not come for peace. Captain Elias stood tall and scanned the horizon. His jaw tightened. "Whoever did this might return," he said. The boy looked up at him then, his voice breaking. "They always return." In that moment, Elias made a decision. "Then we will stand with you." The first part of their story had only begun, but already the question of the child lingered in every heart. Would humanity's tools truly be kinder than the swords of others? Only time would tell. The night was quiet, but it was not peaceful. The ruins of the village seemed to hold its breath, as if the ashes themselves remembered the screams of the fallen. Small lights from the human camp flickered in the darkness. their glow a fragile shield against the shadows. Saren had not slept. He sat beside his mother, her hand clasped in his. The faint glow of her skin pulsed weakly, sometimes dimming so low that Saren would panic and lean close, whispering soft words only she could hear. Each time she managed another breath, though her strength faded. Dr. Leon worked tirelessly. Her medical tools hummed quietly as she tried different treatments, carefully balancing what human science knew with guesses about alien biology. "She is holding on," Dr. Leon whispered to Captain Elias when Saren finally looked away. "But we need more time, and time may be the one thing we do not have." Elias nodded. His eyes turned to the horizon. The scanners on their landing pod had already shown signs of movement in space. Ships. The raiders were not gone. They were circling back. At dawn, Mara returned from scouting the hills. Dust clung to her boots and her face was tense. "Captain," she said, "I saw something." Bright lights moving in the sky. "They are coming," Saren's head snapped up. His eyes widened in fear. "They always come back," he said. His small voice trembled, but there was a hard truth in it. Elias placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "Then we must be ready." Kaito frowned as he checked the supplies. "Ready? Captain, we have no weapons strong enough to fight Star Raiders. We are a science crew, not soldiers." "True," Elias said calmly, "but we are not helpless. We use what we have. We adapt." Mara gave a short, nervous laugh. "Adapt against ships with swords of fire?" "Yes," Elias answered firmly, "because they expect us to be weak. That is our advantage. We will not fight them as warriors. We will fight them as builders." The humans got to work. Using mining tools from their ship, they cut trenches around the shelter and set up drones as moving decoys. Old energy batteries from the ruined village were rewired into traps that would flash and blind sensors. The team used metal scraps from the broken homes to build barricades, rough but solid. Saren watched in silence. He did not understand everything they did, but he saw the focus in their eyes. He saw how their hands worked quickly, shaping broken pieces into something useful again. It was not the way of raiders. It was different. When Dr. Leon checked Saren's mother again, her face softened slightly. "She is still with us," she said. "But if they strike here, I cannot protect her and fight at the same time." Elias put his hand on her shoulder. "You will not fight. That is my job." As the day passed, the sky grew darker once more. The hum of engines filled the air, faint at first, then louder. Saren ran outside the shelter, staring upward. His heart pounded. Above the horizon, black ships appeared, their sharp shapes cutting across the sky. Their engines glowed red, and their presence carried the weight of fear. Mara cursed under her breath. "They are here." The raider ships descended, scattering dust and ash. Their weapons gleamed, long arcs of energy forming at their sides. The sight of them made Saren's hands shake, but he forced himself not to hide. He clung to his mother's blanket and whispered, "I will not leave you." Captain Elias stood tall at the entrance of the shelter, his voice steady. "Positions. Remember, hold them long enough, and maybe they will think twice." The first wave of raiders approached on foot, armored and armed with burning blades. They moved through the ruins like shadows, expecting an easy victory. But when one of them stepped into a trench, a hidden charge exploded with a bright flash, throwing him back. The others shouted, their formation breaking. From above, the drones activated. They flew fast, scattering in all directions, sending false signals. The raiders swung their swords at them, but the machines slipped away, distracting them long enough for the humans to strike with improvised defenses. Kaito triggered a blinding flare. The burst of light stunned the raiders, giving Mara time to push debris onto their path. It was not much, but it slowed them. From inside the shelter, Saren watched with wide eyes. He had expected the humans to run, to abandon him and his mother the moment danger came. But instead they stood against the raiders, using nothing but scraps, light, and courage. Dr. Leon crouched beside him, whispering, "Stay close, Saren. Your mother needs you. Trust them." Outside, the fight grew louder. The raiders roared, their blades striking against the barricades. Elias stood at the front, unarmed except for a simple staff of metal he had pulled from the ruins. His voice rang out over the chaos, "We will not yield." The raiders pressed harder. Fire burned in the streets once more, yet still the humans held. They were not stronger, but they were clever. They turned every broken wall, every pile of stone, every useless piece of scrap into a weapon of survival. And Saren, clutching his mother's hand, began to see what made them different. The raiders fought only to destroy. The humans fought to protect. As the battle raged on, Saren's heart whispered a thought he had never dared before. Maybe their tools truly are kinder. The battle had lasted for hours. Smoke still drifted over the ruins and the air was thick with dust. Yet in the center of the chaos, the humans held their ground. Captain Elias's strategy had slowed the raiders, but the fight had drained the team. Their supplies were limited and the wounded alien mother had grown weaker with each passing hour. Dr. Leon looked at her medical instruments, then at Saren's mother. Her brow furrowed. She needs more than stabilizing medicine now, she said quietly. Her body is too far gone. If we do not try something risky, she may not make it. Saren froze. Risky? His voice trembled. She cannot survive another fight? Dr. Leon nodded. I know. But I have an experimental treatment. It is designed to repair tissue using nanomedicine, but it has never been tested on your species. It may work. Or it may fail. The boy's hands clenched tightly around his mother's. Will it hurt her? Dr. Leon shook her head. It may hurt for a moment, but it is the only way we can save her now. Elias stepped closer. Saren, he said softly, I promise you this, if we do nothing, she will not survive. If we try, we may give her a chance. The choice is yours. Saren looked at his mother's fading glow. Her breaths were shallow and her eyes fluttered weakly. He pressed his forehead against her arm. Do it, he whispered. Please, save her. Dr. Leon prepared the nanomedicine. The liquid shimmered faintly like liquid light, and she injected it carefully into the mother's veins. Immediately, her body began to respond. Her glow strengthened slightly and her chest rose with a steadier rhythm. Good, Dr. Leon said softly. She is responding. Keep her calm. Outside the shelter, the raiders were regrouping. They realized the humans had not broken and were now attacking in clever, unexpected ways. Captain Elias saw the threat and moved quickly. We have no time. Mara Cato, help me set up more traps. Use the debris from the ruins, anything we can use to slow them. The humans worked fast. They rigged energy flares, motion sensors, and hidden pits. Every piece of rubble became a tool of defense. They were not fighting with swords, but with brains and determination. Saren peeked through a crack in the shelter wall. The raiders approached again, their red blades glowing in the dim light. But the humans' defenses surprised them. One stumbled into a pit. Another was blinded by a flare. Drones swooped down, confusing their sensors. The humans were holding their ground. Saren's eyes widened. He had never seen anything like it. Humans were weaker in strength, smaller in number, but their will to protect was stronger than the raiders' force. For the first time, he felt hope. Dr. Leon checked the mother again. Her glow had returned brighter than before. She is healing, Dr. Leon whispered. The treatment is working. The boy hugged her hand. You see? Elias said, kneeling beside him. This is what I meant by our tools being kinder. We do not destroy, we repair. We do not take, we give. And we do not leave those in need behind. Saren's voice was quiet. Your words, they are true. But can you also protect us from them? Elias smiled gently. Yes, we will not let them take you. The raiders advanced once more. This time the humans were ready. They guided them toward the traps, leading the attackers into confusion. The raiders were strong, but the humans' intelligence and planning turned the battle. Every attack was met with counteraction. Every advance was slowed. Saren watched, fascinated and scared. He had never understood courage before. But now he saw it clearly. Courage was not just fighting. It was thinking, planning, and protecting those who could not protect themselves. As night fell, the last of the raiders retreated. They had underestimated the humans' tools and their will to defend. The ruined village was quiet again, but this time the quiet was different. It was not fear. It was relief. Dr. Leon looked at the mother, her hands still on the shimmering liquid flowing through her veins. She will survive the night, she said, a tired smile spreading across her face. Saren knelt beside her. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you for saving her. Elias stood nearby looking at the boy. You see, Saren, he said softly, swords can destroy, tools can heal, and people who carry these tools can choose kindness instead of fear. The boy nodded slowly, his eyes bright with understanding. Your tools. They're kinder. Elias looked at the horizon where the stars shone above the broken land. This is only the beginning. But now you know, even in the darkest place humans can bring light. Saren held his mother's hand tightly. She was weak but alive, and for the first time since the attack, he felt hope that their lives could continue. The humans gathered their supplies and checked their defenses one last time. They knew the raiders might return, but tonight they had won. Not with swords, but with courage, intelligence, and care. Saren whispered to his mother again softly as she drifted into a deeper sleep. Your children are safe, thanks to them. And for the first time, the child understood that not all who come from the stars bring destruction. Some bring healing. Some bring hope. The night stretched on, quiet and full of possibility, and in that stillness a new bond formed, between humans and the alien boy, and between two worlds that had just begun to understand each other. The first light of morning crept across the ruined village. The ashes of the night before seemed less heavy now, softened by the sun's pale glow. Saren sat beside his mother, who was finally resting peacefully, her faint glow steady and strong. For the first time since the attack, he allowed himself a small smile. Dr. Leon cleaned her instruments and packed away the last of the nanomedicine vials. She is stable, she said quietly. We have done everything we can. The rest is up to time and care. Saren looked at her, hope shining in his wide eyes. Will she be okay? Dr. Leon nodded. Yes, she has a chance to recover fully now. Captain Elias checked the perimeter one last time. The raiders had not returned, but he knew their departure was temporary. Still, the humans had proven something important. Cleverness, courage, and kindness could turn the tide against those who only seek destruction. Saren, Elias said softly, kneeling beside the boy. Today you saw our tools in action. Not weapons, tools, and you saw what humans will do to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Remember this, even if the world brings more danger. Saren pressed a hand to his mother's arm, feeling the warmth return to her glowing skin. I will remember, he whispered. Your tools. They saved her. They are kinder than their swords. Mara and Kaito gathered the remaining supplies. We need to leave soon, Mara said. If we stay too long, they may return with reinforcements. We cannot fight them forever. Elias looked out across the horizon. We do not need to fight them forever. Our job is done here. We healed what we could. We showed kindness. That is enough. The boy looked at the humans, then at his mother, and finally at the ruins of his village. The memory of fire and pain was still fresh, but a small seed of hope had taken root. He realized that not all who came from the stars were enemies. Some brought life where others had brought death. Dr. Leon smiled at him. Saren, your mother will recover. And you are brave. Brave to trust strangers when your heart was full of fear. Saren's eyes glistened. I did not trust easily, he admitted. But you were different. You protected me. You healed my mother. You did not fight to destroy. Elias placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. That is the choice humans make. Even when faced with swords, we can choose to use our tools to help, not harm. Courage is not only in battle, it is in care, in repair, and in standing for what is right. For a moment all was quiet. The soft glow of Saren's mother, the gentle light of the human camp, and the quiet wind through the broken village created a calm that seemed almost unreal after the violence of the night before. Then Saren looked up at the sky. Will they come back? He asked. Elias followed his gaze. Perhaps. But if they do, we know something important. Even against great force, kindness and cleverness can protect those who cannot defend themselves. Your people are not alone anymore. Saren hugged his mother gently. Thank you, he whispered. For everything. Dr. Leon put a hand on his head, her smile soft. The universe has many dangers, Saren, but it also has people willing to help. That is why hope exists. Mara began loading the last of the supplies into the Aurora Dawn. We should leave before they notice us, she said. Elias nodded. Yes, but we leave behind more than medicine. We leave behind proof that not every being from the stars carries swords. Some carry hands to help, minds to think, and hearts to care. Saren stood beside his mother as the humans boarded their ship. He felt fear, but also a strange confidence. He had seen courage and kindness stand against destruction. He had seen that hope could survive even in the darkest moments. The engines of the Aurora Dawn hummed to life, lifting the ship from the surface. As it ascended, Saren waved. He did not wave goodbye to just the humans, he waved to a promise. A promise that not all visitors brought pain. Some brought healing. Some brought hope. Some brought the light of what humans could be. His mother looked at him, her glow now steady and calm. They were good, she said weakly. Saren nodded. Yes, their tools are kinder than their swords. Captain Elias watched from the cockpit. Saren, he said over the comm link, remember this. Protect each other. Trust in those who do good and never forget the power of kindness. The boy pressed a hand to the glass of the ship window. I will remember, he whispered. Always. As the aurora dawn disappeared into the sky, the ruined village was quiet once more. But in that quiet, hope lingered. It glimmered in the child's eyes, in the mother's restored glow, and in the lesson of a small human crew who had chosen to be builders, healers, and protectors. The universe was vast, full of danger and darkness, but sometimes it only took a few hands, a few minds, and a few hearts to prove that kindness could stand stronger than any sword. And in that lesson, Saren knew the future could be bright. The story of that night of tools and swords, of courage and care, would remain with him forever. The humans had come not as conquerors, but as saviors, and the boy guarding his mother whispered once more, not with fear, but with hope. Your tools are kinder. The air inside the ruined shelter was heavy with ash. Dr. Leon worked quickly, her hands steady even as her brow tightened with worry. The alien mother's wounds were deeper than they first appeared. Her skin glowed faintly, and with each weak breath, the light dimmed a little more. The child sat close to her side, watching everything. His eyes were wide, filled with both hope and suspicion. Every time Dr. Leon touched his mother with a medical tool, he flinched, ready to pull her away. But he did not stop her. Not yet. Captain Elias stood nearby, his gaze fixed on the boy. What is your name? He asked softly. The boy blinked. His voice was barely more than a whisper. Saren? Saren, Elias repeated, his tone calm. Your mother is strong, but she needs help. Dr. Leon will do everything she can. Saren swallowed hard. They promised before, he muttered. The others. They came with bright ships. They gave words of peace. Then they brought swords of fire. His small fists tightened. They cut down my people. They laughed while we ran. No one on the human team spoke for a moment. The quiet was heavy. The words of the child felt like sharp stones pressed into their hearts. Dr. Leon finally broke the silence. Saren, we are not like them, she said. Our tools are for healing. You will see. Saren's glowing eyes narrowed. Why should I believe you? Elias crouched down, lowering himself to Saren's height. Because if we wished harm, we would not be kneeling in the dust of your home, he said. We would not risk our lives landing here. We are here because no one else came to answer your call. The boy did not reply, but his hands loosened slightly on his mother's arm. Mara and Cato searched through the broken homes for supplies. They brought back cloth, water jars, and what looked like dried food. The village was silent, as though every sound had been stolen away by the attack. Captain, Mara said quietly, this place, there are no other survivors. Elias nodded grimly. Then Saren and his mother may be the last of their people here. Dr. Leon looked up, her face pale. I can slow the bleeding, but her body is not like ours. Human medicine only works so far. If I had more time, I could adapt the treatment. But right now, all I can do is hold her steady. Saren's lip trembled. He looked at the humans with desperate eyes. Please, do not let her go. Dr. Leon reached out gently and placed her hand over his. I will not give up on her, she said. Elias stood, his expression firm. Then we stay. We give her the time she needs. Kaito frowned. Captain, if the attackers return, we will not stand a chance. We have no heavy weapons, no shields. Elias turned his head toward the ruined horizon. His voice was calm but strong. If those who came with swords return, then we will show them something different. We are not only healers. We are builders, and builders do not give up easily. Saren looked at him, confusion mixing with curiosity. Builders? Yes, Elias said with a small smile. Where others break, we repair. Where others burn, we plant again. That is what it means to be human. The child tilted his head, studying him. For the first time, there was no anger in his eyes, only a faint spark of wonder. As night fell on the broken village, the humans set up small lights around the shelter. They shared food with Saren, though he ate little, refusing to leave his mother's side. Later, when the stars shone above the cracked roofs, Saren whispered to Elias, "You are not like them. But I still fear, what if your kindness is only a mask?" Elias placed a hand over his chest. "I cannot change what others did to you," he said quietly. "But I can choose what we do now. Watch us, Saren. Judge us by our actions, not by our words." Saren looked down at his mother. Her breathing was still weak but steadier than before. His eyes softened. He did not answer Elias, but he no longer pulled away. For the humans, it was only the beginning. They knew danger was near and their supplies were limited. Yet in the silence of that broken night, something fragile began to grow between them and the child, the first thread of trust. Far above, beyond the quiet stars, dark ships moved again. The raiders had not finished their hunt, and soon the humans would face the true test of their promise.